WWE Super Showdown has just concluded, folks. The show that was supposed to be the equivalent to WrestleMania. Yeah, it didn't live up to that, but it was let's think what pay-per-views we've had so far. What do we have? What was that pay-per-view we just had? I honestly forgot. Whatever pay-per-view. It was Money in the Bank. That's it. I don't even think it beat Money in the Bank. I'm not trying to be a negative Nancy here. There was some positives on this show, and I'll get into that. A few gripes I have with this show. One, The Undertaker is my favorite wrestler of all time. He was the first wrestler I ever saw, first wrestler that ever gravitated me towards wrestling. He is forever my favorite of all time, and to me, the greatest performer in professional wrestling of all time, in terms of character. But, damn, man. I'm not blaming Taker. I'm mostly blaming Goldberg. What the hell are you banging your head on the door, basically causing yourself a concussion, then you ram yourself into the freaking ring post and give yourself even more of a concussion, and then you F up the match. There's spots that were botched because Goldberg was just, I don't know if it was just ring rust and he was exhausted, or just the dude was freaking 100% concussed, and there was a spot where, the jackhammer spiked Taker on his head. I was like, oh, I'm not going to say the word on the air, but God. And then, there's a spot where I guess Goldberg was going to go for the finish. I guess was supposed to be Goldberg goes for the tombstone, Taker reverses out of it. Goldberg literally fell out of it. So literally Taker just hits a choke slam. I could kind of hear him during the pin saying, just stay down. As in, let's just get this shit over with now. And after the match, I'm not sure if I'm going to put that picture as the thumbnail. Probably will. Taker looked pissed. I was pissed. Wrestling Twitter was pissed. The world was pissed. It was fine for what it was. I'm just going to get into the pay-per-view. WWE Super Showdown. Should be Super Showdown 2, technically, because then we have a Super Showdown in Australia last year. Was kicked off with the Usos defeating the Revival. I figure, honestly, with how over the Usos are with the crowd, to me, I was very oblivious. I thought with them being in Saudi Arabia and this being a big show, and who really cares, just let all the babyfaces get their wins in. But that necessarily wasn't the case tonight, mostly. I wrote here that I figured the babyfaces would win. Kind of expecting this to stretch out to Stomping Grounds. Hoping not, but honestly probably will. With 2 weeks, they really, WWE doesn't really know how to build at least a little bit of something in 2 weeks. They'll just come back to this and put it on the main card, I guess, or even put it back on the pre-show. The match was good for what it was. The crowd was super, super, super hot for the Usos. The Usos are very, very over, in Saudi Arabia. Great, they deserve it. They should be. But the finish came when the Usos hit stereo super kicks on Dawson and knocked him to the outside of the ring, and then they did the same to Dash Wilder, and that was the finish. No Uso splash, no nothing, just a double super kick. Like I said, it was fine for what it's worth. After this, I would love to see, maybe just one of these teams challenge Hawkins and Ryder at Stomping Grounds for the tag team championships, because God, your tag team champions haven't been on TV in weeks. I guess, see, here's where I gave WWE the benefit of the doubt. I know there were some competitors that the royal family didn't really request and they really didn't want to see, so they were like, you could just leave so-and-so, so maybe they didn't want to see Hawkins and Ryder, but, yeah, I don't know. I wish they could have brought him over, had a quick little tag team championship match, even if they just retained. They're your champs. Come on now. Next up, Rollins defeated Baron Corbin to retain his Universal Championship. The big story of the match, obviously, was Rollins suffered a vicious attack from Brock Lesnar this past Monday on Monday Night Raw. A very illogical one. And he sold the injury heavily. He had some nice attire tonight too. I think it was based off of Avengers Endgame. He had some nice attire, but his ribs were taped. You know how they do like little rib tape thing to sell a rib injury or something. And he sold that heavily throughout the match, and that was mostly the story throughout the match. Baron Corbin has been, there was a time in NXT I was a huge fan of Baron Corbin. He did pull off some great matches with some great competitors, like, he had a good match with Finn Balor and a good match with Sami Zayn. I believe he had one with Sami, and then a nice match at Apollo Crews, which was his last TakeOver match. I believe that was TakeOver Dallas, right before he debuted and won the Battle Royal. He was pretty good in this match. The finish came. I was so about the finish. Corbin tried to bring a chair to the ring, and the ref says, no, Corbin, don't do it. It was referee John Cone. He said, no, don't do that. The referee, then he took the chair out the ring, and then he went to go do something, and then I think he might have rolled up Rollins, and it was like a 2 count, and he got in referee John Cone's face, and Cone pushed him back into Rollins, which Rollins caught him and gave Corbin a roll up for the 1, 2, 3. Looking back on it, a lot of these finishes tonight were kind of, for some of these feuds, to extend them on the stomping ground so they have something for the next pay-per-view in 2 weeks. Kind of gives it a reason that, well, Corbin really didn't get beat. He just got screwed by the referee, which I know he's probably going to talk about on Monday Night Raw. But yeah, Rollins retains like I expected. He beat the crap out of Rollins after the match. Corbin did. And out comes Brock Lesnar. And the way they did this was fine. I'm not going to harp too much on it. Heyman was just... They explained this. Heyman was so excited that he tripped coming into the ring and dropped the briefcase. So when Brock went to go pick up the briefcase, Rollins gave him a low blow, kind of like reminiscent of WrestleMania. And then Rollins went to town on Lesnar with some nasty chair shots, which looked really, really good. I could tell he was kind of giving some payback after those stiff chair shots that Brock was giving to Rollins this past Monday. Rollins then hit a curb stomp. And the thing I love about Brock, he'll take that freaking curb stomp. And he took it right into the briefcase. Unlike Cena, I'm not sure if you guys remember when Cena and Rollins had that feud, which lasted through the summer, through like that winter, right before Rollins got injured. He would jump into it and protect himself. No, Brock's like, fuck that. I'm taking this move. Sorry for the language, but I'm taking this move, and he took it straight into the briefcase. Next up, we got the Demon. Finn Balor defeated Andrade via pinfall to retain the title. And Zelina Vega, obviously, with the Saudi Arabian rules and all that stuff. I was actually surprised that they allow Renee Young to come there, but whatever. This one was good. This was actually a really good match. And looking back on it, after the match, I said, this is my match of the night. And I didn't expect it to change, and it didn't change. This was truly my match of the night. The old Prince Devitt versus La Sombra. For some of you New Japan fans. Speaking of New Japan, I will have a New Japan Dominion review following the show Sunday. But getting back to this, the crowd was a bit dead through this. Obviously, not many hardcore fans. Hardcore fans would have been going crazy for this match, but it was actually really, really good. Andrade looked great. I can't wait to see when Andrade will get a championship. I still think he would have been one of the right guys to win that Money in the Bank briefcase. I would have loved to see Andrade with that briefcase and, have him become a world champion down the road. It was mostly just Balor hitting his signature moves. One thing I wrote down here, I do not like how they're like forcing Balor to stick his tongue out like he's some type of weirdo or something. I get it, he's a demon, but God, give the guy some creative control. It feels very Vince-esque when I see some of his mannerisms. One thing, Balor kicked out of the hammerlock DDT, which is honestly one of the most protective finishing moves. Besides, when Gargano would kick out of it in NXT, but Gargano kicks out of everything. And then there was a spot. This is where the finish came. Andrade goes Balor's on the top rope, and Andrade goes to hit a Hurricane, but Balor catches him. It's a top rope 1916 Bloody Sunday, and I was thinking in my head, okay, back in 20, I think it was 13, when Balor competed and he clean sweep the Best of Super Juniors tournament, he hit the same move against Ricochet. And ever since then, I've been wanting to see that move in WWE. I was like, he's got to hit it one time, and he did. I was like to myself, that should have been the finish, but obviously they don't want the 1916 being Balor's finish, so that was a setup move for the coup de grace. Looked great, stomped the air out of Andrade's lungs. 1, 2, 3. The demon entrance was really cool as well, and like I said, Andrade looked great. Next up, and you are not hearing this wrong, Shane McMahon, the best in the world, defeated Roman Reigns via pinfall. Not hearing that wrong at all. This is kind of when I started to go in and out, because a lot of this stuff I really wasn't feeling. It was I just couldn't get into it. I'm tired of seeing Shane on my TV. I don't mind Roman at all. Roman always turns out, good performances. Whether you like the guy or not, he does. And man, it's just okay, so I'm not even gonna go through this. You guys already know basically what happened. It was like a back and forth match for what it was, and the finish came, which also set up McIntyre and Roman at Stomping Grounds, which Roman kind of alluded to on Monday. Was it Monday or Tuesday? I can't remember. It's at this point it's the same freaking show. Shane kind of accidentally, and it looked good the way they did it, he knocked down Charles Robinson, the ref, and as soon as that happened, it was pure motion. Reigns turns around, bam, a Claymore kick by McIntyre. Shane crawls into the cover, 1, 2, 3, and gets his victory. So I guess that means we get more Shane McMahon on TV. Yay! Next up, this was a dud. Lars Sullivan versus the Lucha House Party in a 3-on-1 handicap match. The match was basically Lars gets his offense in and makes the Lucha House Party look so sorry. Makes the Lucha House Party look like bums, and then they eventually start beating him down. And for some reason, there was no 5 count from the ref. As soon as the two other partners of I believe Kalisto was Legal Man start beating out Lars, he called disqualification. If this match happens at Stomping Grounds, put it on the kickoff, because I do not care about it. Nor do most fans care about this. I actually enjoyed Lars Sullivan in NXT. He had a good to great match with Aleister Black. He had an awesome, what was that, a no holds barred match against Killian Dane, which was Killian Dane's last match in NXT. And God, how do you ruin this? Damn. Vince just whatever. Next up, we got Triple H versus Randy Orton. Another match which was fine for what it was worth. You knew you weren't going to get some 5-star Adam Cole versus Johnny Gargano. You're going to get a slow, methodical match. The only thing that surprised me, is another match that surprised me, was the finish. Triple H was, Triple H. He literally copied his entrance from WrestleMania. Literally, he did. He copied his entrance from WrestleMania. A lot of this stuff was copied from WrestleMania. Like, some of the entrances, like Balor's entrance on the podium, even though they added, like, demons to it, it was the same WrestleMania entrance. But whatever. The finish came when Triple H was posing for the crowd, came into the ring, and Orton hit the second RKO of the match for the 1-2-3. Makes sense. Hunter got nothing from winning that match. And yeah. Yepers. Boy, oh boy. Try my best to be positive here, guys. Bobby Lashley versus Braun Strowman. Strowman won. Kofi Kingston versus Dolph Ziggler. Decent match. Still not understanding why Ziggler's in the title picture, but I guess they're trying to throw something different in there, which I don't mind. Let you know, Kingston won with Trouble in Paradise. The finish came when Woods hit Ziggler with a super kick, and then he fell into the Trouble in Paradise, which gives him a reason to rebook the match in 2 weeks. So at least they put some type of thought into it. Say, hey, well, we're too lazy to book, new matches, so why don't we just do the other one, and do the same ones in 2 weeks, but give them reasons. So, yeah. Yep. And then after the match, Ziggler cut a promo backstage about Kingston cheating the win. He said Kingston's a coward and that he wants a rematch at Stomping Grounds in a steel cage. Whoop, whoop. 50-man Battle Royal. There were some surprises. AOP, I guess Akam is back from his knee injury. Buddy Murphy was there. Miz, Elias, Cesaro, and Titus O'Neil all got separate entrances. Ricochet, Ali, Rusev, Shinsuke Nakamura, the Usos, the Revival, and Bobby Roode got jobber entrances. The final 6 were Ricochet, Ali, Mansoor from NXT in Saudi Arabia, Elias, Cesaro, and Samoa Joe. Shout out to WrestleVotes on Twitter. They confirmed this morning that Mansoor was going to be the winner. And I was hoping he wasn't, because they were like basically pandering to the Saudi Arabian audience, but it happened. Ricochet and Ali teamed up to eliminate Samoa Joe. Cesaro eliminates Ricochet and Ali. Mansoor tips Cesaro over the top and leaving only Elias. Elias was great here. He starts beating down Mansoor and soaking in the heat from the Saudi Arabian crowd. Mansoor eliminates Elias to win the Battle Royal, and the crowd goes crazy. Like, this was a pure pop, I'm such an NXT fan, like a Johnny Gargano winning the NXT Championship pop. Like, this was crazy. Oh my god, the pop was immense. But he cuts a very fiery promo afterwards. And yeah, that's where that match went. The main event of the evening, the GOAT, The Undertaker versus that guy, Bill Goldberg. Entrances were hella long, as to be expected. We got introductions for the match, which I was like, this is so dumb. There's not even a championship online, but Vince has to be over the top with everything. Match starts off, Goldberg hits 2 spears. After the second spear, he goes for a cover. And Taker kicked out for 2, and then went back and forth here, punches, stuff like that. Goldberg goes for a knee bar that just sucked ass and didn't work, and even Corey Graves was like, well, he's trying something, and da-da-da-da. I'm like, yeah, Graves, you couldn't even explain that one. Then stuff started getting interesting. Taker hit the chokeslam, goes for a tombstone. Goldberg didn't even tuck his chin and got spiked around his head. Yeah, I know. And then did some more back and forth. Goldberg hits another spear and goes for a jackhammer. Like I said, the guy was freaking concussed because he's an idiot. And spikes Taker on his head. Spike Taker on his head. He eventually goes for the cover, and it goes only for a 2 count. Taker's pissed at this point, and Goldberg goes for a tombstone, which Taker reverses, but Goldberg slips out and falls, like legit falls in his back. And Taker's like, what the fuck, dude? So he just picks him up, goes for a choke slam. It kind of whispers to him to stay down. 1, 2, 3. Taker wins. Taker's pissed. I'm pissed. And a lot of people are pissed. But I'm going to wrap this review up. I don't want to take up too much of your time. I'm not one of those reviewers that can go on for like an hour. If I had to give it a rating, I'd give it a grade of a C. Not too bad, but not great at either. Not great at all. And that main event left a bad taste in my mouth. But shout out to Balor and Andrade for that great match they had. Well, folks, that's all I got for you guys. Hopefully you guys like the podcast. I'll see you guys Sunday for Dominion. Okada versus Jericho. Should be great. Peace.